President Trump says negotiations are underway, even as the U.S. prepares to send more troops to the region. According to the Associated Press, the Trump administration has submitted a 15-point ceasefire plan to Tehran. But the Iranian military is actually mocking the president's claims of any talks, saying that the U.S. is negotiating with itself. President Trump had a different outlook yesterday when he told our Ed O'Keefe that Iran gave the USA a, quote, big present related to oil and gas.
Why bother talking to them?
Because they're going to make a deal. They're going to make a deal. They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is.
All right, CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro joins us now to talk about it. As we said, Aaron, and as you know, the Iranians are sending a very different message when it comes to what is happening behind the scenes. They have not spoken behind the scenes. They are publicly saying that the United States is negotiating with itself. The Iranian military at one point goes on to say, do not call your defeat an agreement. Someone like us will never come to terms with someone like you, not now, not ever. So how is the president reacting to what the Iranians are saying?
President Trump has insinuated and repeated that Iran, quote, very badly wants to make a deal. And now there are no specifics yet on who exactly in Iran the U.S. is talking to. The president has suggested it is not the new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, but suggested it was someone high-ranking. And yesterday acknowledged that one challenge in any diplomatic talks is the change that the leadership has gone through. He equated it to a regime change given the death of the Ayatollah and other high-ranking officials. And he suggested that that, combined with Iran's military capabilities being decimated by U.S.-Israeli strikes, is why he believes the country is in a position now of making a deal. Take a listen to what he told reporters about who from the U.S. is involved when he spoke yesterday at the White House.
We're in negotiations right now. They're doing it along with Marco, J.D., we have a number of people doing it, and the other side, I can tell you, they'd like to make a deal. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and we're talking about that. And I don't want to say in advance, but they've agreed they will never have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that.
Now, that involvement of Vice President J.D. Vance is notable, given that he has been on the record saying he does not want the U.S. to get into a longer-term conflict. And as you mentioned, Iran has denied that these negotiations over the weekend have happened. They have suggested that President Trump is saying this to help alleviate the oil markets and the domestic pressure he's seeing. But CBS News has learned that Iran is reviewing the 15 points that have been sent from the U.S.'s side.
So many conflicting stories here, Aaron. We understand that the U.S. is expected to deploy additional troops from the 82nd Airborne Division to the Middle East. This is on top of the roughly 4,500 Marines en route already to the region. What do you know?
1,500, including a command element and some ground forces. They will join the about 50,000 American troops that are in that region. We know that President Trump has been briefed on potential military actions, including putting boots on the ground, even though he says publicly that he has not decided to do so. Sources have said he has not yet made a final decision on that. This could be seen as a pressure tactic during these negotiations that the president has claimed that they are in with Iran, or it could be a sign of potential military actions to come should negotiations there go south before the president's 5-day deadline that he instituted on Monday. We know the administration has been looking at securing Iran's enriched uranium that can be used to build a nuclear weapon, and there has been talk of special forces being sent in to do that. But certainly this combination of negotiations, in addition to troops, signals that the president is looking for a diplomatic off-ramp, but is ready to continue this conflict should those fail.
All right, Aaron Navarro reporting from the White House for us. Aaron, thank you. For more on the situation in the Middle East, we're joined by CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Livesay from Dubai. So, Chris, give us a bit of a reality check here. I mean, we discussed what Iran is saying publicly about the state of negotiations, but what's happening behind the scenes? I mean, it's not as if the Iranian regime has not lied before.
Hey, Vlad, you know, they're behaving like somebody who has the upper hand, at least economically. I mean, that posture from that military spokesperson who said in that video this morning that the United States was, quote, negotiating with itself. In other words, discrediting what President Trump said earlier this week about having productive conversations with the Iranian regime. That's at least the public-facing side of the Iranian regime right now. Privately, behind closed doors, could there be some kind of diplomacy taking place? Maybe. There appear to be back channels that have opened up through other countries like Pakistan and Egypt, according to that report that you quoted at the beginning of the segment. It appears that the Trump administration passed on this 15-point ceasefire plan to Iran via intermediaries in Pakistan. So privately, perhaps there's a ceasefire deal, or at least the conditions for one gurgling to the surface, but publicly, Iran does not seem to be playing ball, and there exists this massive chasm between what the U.S. wants and what Iran wants.
That is the right word for it. Chris Livesay, thank you so much.